Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing X-Men Apocalypse. Although I have recently been accidentally mispronouncing it and calling it X-Men Alpocalypse, which sounds like the greatest thing ever, and probably... probably would prefer to be watching that. Although, I don't want to say something like that. I don't want to say something rude like that, because for whatever reason, everyone really seems to be dumping on this film. And I'm not talking about, like, people who've seen it and say it sucks. I haven't actually heard of anyone who's actually seen it yet. Well, I know people have probably seen it. I haven't heard from somebody who's seen it yet. It's mostly just, like, random people who haven't seen it and are like, yeah, that's probably gonna suck ass. I don't get it. Did I miss something? Is there something really awful in the trailer? Is there something just, like, terrible in the idea itself? Doesn't sound like a terrible idea. And, like, those teasers that pop up on YouTube seem okay. Just the first mutants blow up, kill everyone. I don't know. Seems alright. My theory... Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my theory. Theory is everyone has superhero movie fatigue. Absolutely everyone. And we got it around the time of Batman v Superman and, you know, Civil War. The thing is, everyone knows Marvel is good. Marvel Studios is always fucking good. So they didn't want to just dump on a Marvel film, so they'll go to Fox instead and dump on them, because their movies are off and on. So, like for instance, their best film, as far as I'm concerned, was Days of Future Past, as far as the superhero movies. Discounting Deadpool, of course, because that's a tangent of more than anything else, but, you know, their movies are off and on. So it's much easier to dump on them than it is to dump on, like, the Marvel film featuring Spider-Man. Like, that's my theory. I don't know if that's particularly fair. I mean, in my review of Civil War, I opened it up telling you how fucking fatigued I am, and it had nothing to do with that movie. It's just that I'm sick of superhero movies in general. So, I don't know, I don't... To me, that would be like, watching 10,000 comedy movies in a row, and being sick of them by the 100th, but holding out to the 105th because you happen to be watching a Jim Carrey movie at the time. Like, what? Do you really think that would reflect badly on Jim Carrey himself if there's just been a billion comedy movies coming out, you know? Like, if he was in most of them, that would make sense, but and I suppose, like, Marvel Studios is probably the biggest contributor to like, the superhero fatigue, but yeah, I don't think it's particularly fair to dump on Apocalypse. But then again, that's just my theory. Maybe there's something else about, like, its whole idea that's getting people down. I don't see it. I don't see how it's any more of a ridiculous scenario than Days of Future Past or anything like that, so no idea why it's getting such backlash like that. So, whatever. Oh well, at least Batman v Superman didn't get that preemptive backlash, because it made the actual backlash that much more sweet. So, but, yeah, in case you're wondering, yeah, my superhero fatigue is still going on, but I'll judge it for what it is. Well, the thing that you could say is good about the Fox superhero movies is that whilst Marvel has their formula, and they stick to it pretty hard, like they have they have varying levels of serious versus schlocky, but they stick to the formula nonetheless. And Fox is a little more, it varies it. And of course that results in varying levels of success. For instance, Days of Future Past and Deadpool versus Fantastic Four and X-Men First Class. So, they vary. So, hey, that's something. So, yeah, and until next, and I'm going to skip ahead, and let's go. Well, you know what? I had fun. That was pretty fun. Better than Days of Future Past? Hell no, but pretty fun. This is pretty much schlocky superhero stuff at its best. Like, this doesn't have the dramatic character connections of the Marvel films or Days of Future Past or stuff like that, but as far as just, like, the pure, dim-witted, action-packed nonsense of some dude trying to annihilate the world with evil magnet powers, this is probably the epitome of it. This is pretty great. Right off the bat, the funny thing about this is that Apocalypse himself looks like King Piccolo from Dragon Ball Evolution, which made me laugh. In fact, he's pretty silly in this movie, just his whole mannerisms and stuff. I think he's meant to be intimidating, but I don't know. I don't get... At no point was I afraid of him. Except for one scene, but I'll get into that. Yeah, just generally overall, it tries for a few dramatic points, but I don't think it really hits them that well. I think just mostly overall, its strong point is the schlockiness, the silly action, the the person, like, leveling Cairo and building a new pyramid in the center of it, like, just super silly stuff. Although, I have to admit, you didn't like the high body count and Man of Steel and, some stuff like that, this movie might disturb you. Because this movie has a very high body count. I'm pretty sure many different cities lost millions of people. Like there was this one shot that I noticed where, like, the Sydney Opera House is being freaking disintegrated by the stuff they're doing. And, like, if you look closely, there's, like, people running on the ground getting smushed by rubble. This is a very violent movie. Like, this really does kind of push the limits of PG-13, especially this opening scene where, like, it's in the past where Apocalypse is getting Wolverine powers. Yeah, just like this scene in the past. And basically, a group of soldiers decide to betray him, and they start, like, getting this huge plan to progress, this really silly plan of basically sending a giant stone slab into the pillars and knocking the pyramid down on top of them. But it's just so funny, because these two guards who are in on it, like, immediately when the plan starts, they whack this door and, like, close it so everyone's trapped in. And then they're just like, yeah! Like, they're about to fight Apocalypse and his minions. And then one of the minions immediately rips the skin off of these guys and sends them slamming into a wall. Holy shit! Did that just happen? And this other dude who tries to attack him, he gets, like, smushed up into a telekinetic ball. And, like, whole bunches of people are smushed by stone slabs, like, smashing them right in the face. Like, wow. There's kind of horrific imagery going on here. You don't see that in Marvel. So, yeah, that was a very entertaining opening scene, just in terms of, like... I think this movie... I think the main thing I might have a problem with this, with the movie, is that it's clear that they really, really enjoyed the success of Days of Future Past and tried a little too much to be derivative of that. For instance, Days of Future Past also had an incredibly violent opening scene. This movie also has a Quicksilver being like, you know, himself scene. And he's rescuing everyone. This movie has, like, many different beats from that film, which is a shame, I think, because it has its own moments too, but, like, they keep calling back to the old stuff. And I think it's unnecessary. But I have to say, though I do think the movie is overall really schlocky and fun and not something to take seriously, there was this one scene that almost did get to me. I'm almost afraid to mention it, but you know when Barney the dinosaur set foot into Chadwick Jones's non-canon universe and what happened after that? That kind of happens. And it, like, the imagery associated with it, this is where they decide to stick their Stan Lee cameo, which, ill-advised, but even then, couldn't overshadow the, like, what was happening in that scene, and what you kind of, like, just the music and, like, they play this, like, classic music song that's low-key, so it amplifies what's happening. It's, that was an incredibly disturbing scene. Yeah. If you see it, you know it. I do recommend this movie, by the way. Like, this is, far and away, does not deserve the crap that seems to be getting preemptively for some reason. Like, why? Was there something in the trailers that seriously offended you? I mean, it's silly, but it's not, like, an awful movie at all. So, yeah, in that aspect, I'm much more annoyed at people's reactions to it. Well, people's, like, preemptive opinions. I wouldn't be that mad if it was just people who've seen it who think it sucks. Like, I've had that happen before. I hated The Jungle Book and people like that. I liked Maleficent and people hate that. So I don't mind when, like, I have disagreements with people who've seen it. When people haven't seen it, and for whatever reason that I have yet to have explained to me, people have just branded it as bad right out of the gate. Like, at least for Ghostbusters, I get that one, people don't like the trailer. There you go. But for this, like, I haven't heard bad things about a trailer, just that the movie looks bad. I don't get it. Really. It's a group of superpowered people trying to fight another superpowered person. It's just fun. It's stupid. Get over it. Whatever. That's all I have to say. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching A Dyer-Situation.